Last week, Christian Cage turned heel, and this week he proved that he is one of the best heels in the entire company. I am GT Schwa. We are going over the highlights of the Wednesday, June 22nd episode of AEW Dynamite. Let's get right into it. We are starting with my highlight of the night. We got to do things a little out of order here because I could not stop thinking about this segment and for the rest of the entire show. And that was Christian addressing what happened last week when he turned on Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy specifically, which is important to later on in his promo. He walks out in a black turtleneck and the brown jacket and the boots, looking like a spy thriller villain with like a laser beam that's going to shoot at the earth. He looked I love how that little change in the fit, that little change in the outfit, suddenly it's like, okay, he's a jackass now. But it turns out he was always a jackass. I was so interested to see what the reasoning was for him turning on Jungle Boy, and he 180'd me really hard. I thought he was just going to be like, yeah, I was disappointed with Jungle Boy. No. He's been planning this since the Battle Royale at Double or Nothing last year. This has been a long con. He has just been bankrolling Jungle Boy and Jurassic Express out of spite, out of wanting to make that money, because all Christian Cage cares about is his payday. He doesn't care about elevating the younger talent. He certainly doesn't care about Jungle Boy specifically. He just wants to make that money. And he specifically comments on Jungle Boy's parents, saying that his mother is probably upset because she thought that he could be like a father figure to Jungle Boy. Well, Jungle Boy already had a dad who's dead, going for the MJF types of heat. And from the word go, the audience had inferno heat on this man. And by the end of it, they were ready to strangle him. Speaking of strangling him, Luchasaurus comes out shortly after his promo and immediately goes straight to choking him out. Christian, he says, don't forget what happened to Marco, something along those lines. Name dropping Marco Stunt, who hasn't even been talked about for like the last year, basically. I don't know if this is maybe like a hint that we're getting Marco coming back, which I personally, I'd be down for, just because it was such an unceremonious vanishing that he had. I'd be down with him returning, and it would make sense, being that Christian is this person who Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus turned to when Marco left, and then Marco just never came back. They're alluding to Luchasaurus maybe turning heel with Christian. It's unclear at that point, but for the moment, this was a perfect segment. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved every moment of it. Christian Cage as a heel is genius. He was doing amazing work for that entire promo. He might have even gone over, because you could tell he was in the zone. He had a lot on his mind. He wanted to get all of it out, wanted to make it perfectly clear why he was doing what he was doing and what his long-term plan was now. So that whole segment, absolutely fantastic. Getting back onto the rest of the show, which was also, I think, a very good episode of Dynamite. We opened up with Danielson, the bad news. It became very clear very quickly that this was an injury promo. Danielson saying, hey, gonna be injured, not gonna be able to go to Forbidden Door, not gonna be able to go to Blood and Guts, in spite of really wanting to, but I got a guy who is at my technical level and is someone who is going to be able to go up against Zack Sabre Jr., going to be able to take my place, and is going to be joining the Blackpool Combat Club. They are going to be announced at Forbidden Door, at the pay-per-view. At this point, it's got to be one of two names. It's either got to be Claudio or Johnny Gargano. Personally, it's a 50-50, straight down the middle. I think, maybe a bit towards Claudio, but I think either is likely. Either of them would make perfect sense in AEW. And Zack Sabre Jr. came out at the end just to kind of yell off mic, like, hey, screw you. You know, it was a bummer opening the episode up with this, but also a little bit of intrigue and excitement as to who this mystery contender is going to be. Up next was Orange Cassidy and Roppongi Vice versus United Empire. Very fun match. Really enjoyed it. I forget how over Orange Cassidy is. You know, I feel like maybe it's because we just haven't seen him in a while, or maybe it's just because the online discourse about him can be such a garbage fire a lot of the time. But it's so cool to just see the audience unapologetically, unironically loving Orange Cassidy and what he does in the ring, because I think Orange Cassidy is great. I think he's a really great person in the ring, a great personality. I'm really excited for these matches as well. Orange Cassidy and Will Ospreay, if the reports are correct, was not the original plan, but I think it's going to be a very good bit of fun. And the three-way tag match should be absolutely mind-blowing. I can't wait to see FTR steal those belts. Really hoping FTR gets the win there. A little later on was Malakai Black versus Penta Oscuro. If you watch the Command Center Road to Milwaukee type videos on their YouTube, they had some great promos leading up to this on there. I don't even really have much to say on this one, because at this point, everyone who has been watching AEW should know that these are the men who pull out the banger matches every single time, without a doubt. Buddy Matthews, Rey Fenix, Pac, Malakai Black, Penta Oscuro. It was a fantastic match. It was a lot of fun. It was back and forth. Malakai ended up getting the win clean. Pac came out to confront him, only for Miro to show up on the on the Titantron and basically say, hey, the bastards, the pagans, Ishii, who's the man from Japan who's going to be competing, I'm going to be taking all of you down at Forbidden Door for, and once I send you there, just let God know that I'm coming, and if you've seen any of my videos before, I love me some Miro. I'm loving that promo. I think that Miro should undeniably be the man who wins this belt, and not even close. As much as I love Malakai Black, love Pac, and Ishii seems really, really cool. I really need Miro to win this one. Miro needs a belt on him. It makes too much sense. So that whole segment was fantastic. Hangman Adam Page versus Silas Young. Now, at first I thought this was just a jobber. Apparently he has worked in Ring of Honor before. He has a little intro of his own. He's the kind of guy who I look at and I'm immediately like, yeah, I could see him on the reboot for Ring of Honor. That would make a lot of sense. But he seemed cool. They had a very good match together, very straightforward, kept it very simple. Adam Cole comes out to schmuck it up and be douchebag Adam Cole at the end. He gets cut off immediately by Jay White coming out, sunning Adam Cole so bad. He comes out and he's like, yo, Cole, I like you, but you lost to Hangman twice. There is no way that you are the one who's getting the singles match against me at Forbidden Door. And then he just walks off and leaves Cole there with his tail between his legs. Walks up to Hangman, he's getting in his face. Hangman knocks the mic out of his hand. I think my favorite Hangman is Angry Hangman. Like, Angry Hangman and definitely Sad Hangman. Like, anytime Hangman is getting very emotional about something. I like Hangman least when he's just bravado with no real emotional consequences behind it. But when you can tell he's getting frustrated or when he's having inner turmoil, like, Hangman is so good at selling that, like, inner turmoil. I really enjoyed Hangman here. Even if he didn't get to speak, he just got to get frustrated for a moment. But then, after Adam Cole and Jay White come in, they have a beatdown, allude to Cole maybe turning on White, but, they don't go there yet. Coin drop, Okada. This audience lost their mind. They came unglued for Okada coming out. He came in, helped Hangman take the two down. They had a stare off, and it was announced it is going to be a four-way match for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Cannot deny I would have hoped for a singles match with Hangman and Okada. But still, this is going to be very exciting. It's going to be very fun. I am so hyped to see this go down. Two men from New Japan, two men from AEW. Neither man on those individual companies gets along very well. Overall, pretty good segment. So after all that, we're now getting to the women's division stuff, and I cannot lie to you, I was a little nervous. I'm nervous every single time that we get to this part of the night, because so often AEW just completely undersells its women's division. But thankfully, thanks to a good crowd, thanks to, I think, some decently smart choices here, this was a really good showing for the women, I think. We had Marina Shafir versus Toni Storm, which immediately got me concerned, because Shafir has been getting some lukewarm reception. But I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just a hot crowd. Milwaukee brought their A game tonight. Maybe it's the choice of bringing Nyla Rose out with her, also miming the violin music, which definitely got the audience at least a little bit more interested in her coming out. And maybe it's just because the audience really likes Toni Storm. And whatever it may be, they were much more engaged for this match. It was a very good match. I really enjoyed it. It was very technical. It was very hard-hitting. I really enjoyed it. Toni Storm got the win. At one point, Nyla Rose did a beast bomb on the outside, which looked brutal. And ultimately, Storm got the win, and Nyla Rose and Marina Shafir had a beatdown afterwards. Thunder Rosa came in for the save. Two of them had a moment of a stare down, but it looks like it's going to be all respectful going into Forbidden Door. It is the only women's match on the card. It's just AEW women. I'm glad there is something for the women to be doing on the show. And overall, this was a good segment. It was a good match. It was a good aftermatch. And the same could also be said for the women's division stuff being good, for the backstage segments afterwards with the Jade Cargill and the baddies. Red Velvet is injured, and toss that up as another injury for going on right now. And they are looking for a new baddie, which probably means we're getting Sunny Kiss. At least I hope so. I know they've referenced it in the past. Jade Cargill has. A lot of people saying that Sunny Kiss would make a great sense for the baddies. I can't disagree. I think it makes great sense too. And I'm not a crazy person who thinks that Sasha Banks is going to be showing up in AEW. So with that in mind, absolutely, I am all down for a Sunny Kiss or someone else joining the baddies. And on the flip side, we had a great promo from Athena and Chris Statlander. I don't know if it's Athena herself or it's just the luck of her position, but everyone around her seems to be getting elevated. Statlander is showing up every single week, doing great stuff, having a good promo. And now we are getting Willow Nightingale, who I love. I think Willow Nightingale is fantastic. I'm excited that Tony Khan has noticed every time he puts Willow Nightingale on the screen, the audience is losing it for her. So, super excited for this. They should form a faction. The women's division actually had a really good night tonight, and thank God for that. Final match of the night was Mox and Tanahashi versus Chris Jericho and Lance Archer. It was a very fun match. It did its job. It got me excited for Mox versus Tanahashi, for the Blackpool Combat Club JAS stuff going on at Forbidden Door, and of course Blood and Guts. And afterwards, we had Suzuki and Wheeler Yuta and Eddie Kingston and the whole gang come out for a big brawl. Tanahashi and Mox at this point where they're just staring each other down in the middle of all this chaos. It was a great visual. And overall, a great ending to a very good show. The best show that I think that they could have done, considering the lackluster build that we've gotten up until now. Realistically, from square one, we all kind of knew, hey, this is for the people who know both shows or who are okay with being a little confused getting to know these people. I think they could have done a better job introducing us to these people, but at the same time, I can't deny that I'm excited. I'm gonna pay the buy-in for the pay-per-view. It should be a lot of fun, but I hope that after this is over, we're getting back to what AEW does best. Because end of the day, my favorite part of this episode, in spite of all the fun stuff, was that Christian promo. So much that they can build with that, so much they can do with that. It's built off so many months of little hinting and little prodding at story beats, and there's so much they can do with it from here. What do you think, though? Are you excited for Forbidden Door? Are you excited for what happens with AEW afterwards? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm excited to hear all of the discourse and all the talking, and just excited for Forbidden Door in general. We're eating very good right now. I'm GT Schwa. I will see you all in the next one.